AK-47 is not a respecter of charms, Juju. Islamic cleric says to Yoruba nation agitators. A renowned Islamic cleric Sheikh Abibullah Al-Dam Al-Lori in a video has advised the Yoruba nation agitators to stop depending on charms. He said AK-47 rifles are not respecter of charms. The agitators should rather follow the proper ways for self-determination. He said this when he was giving lectures today in the presence of thousands of his followers who usually come to attend his lectures of the revered Islamic cleric from far and near. Islam as a religion is against the use of charms and regards anybody that uses charms as an idolater. That is why the cleric made this statement. However, the Yoruba nation agitators were seen at Gani Fawehimi Park in Ojota, Lagos State as they appeared in cultural regalia synonymous with African traditional religion and usually worn by Oshun worshippers in the southwest. The separatists held the proposed rally for succession of the southwest geopolitical zone, despite repeated warnings by security operatives and the disappearance of Chief Sunday Adeyemo after the DSS stormed his house on Thursday. Although agitators led by Professor Banji Akintoye Ilana Odua Group had held similar rallies in other states in the southwest, which were peaceful, but the one held in Lagos today was a bit chaotic as the agitators were later dispersed by police who fired shots into the air and sprayed them with hot water. A drink seller died from stray bullets while many were injured while running from the water spray. Furthermore, the most surprising thing about the agitators in white regalia was that they were all happy and chanting songs in Yoruba language that depicted their readiness for a Yoruba nation. I guess that is what it is. It is. I mean, honestly, I'm so confused with this statement, to be very honest, because when you say AK-47 is not a respecter of charms, it seems as though this person is suggesting that, okay, fine, for the Yoruba nation agitators, don't depend on charms because the opposition will be using AK-47. Now, when you use AK-47 in this context and in context of Nigeria, AK-47 in recent times have been associated with Fulani headsmen. So I'm now confused. Are you saying that it is because why should first of all, the question is, why should they even feel like they have to defend themselves? And whatever method they use, why do they feel they have to do that? And also, who is going to be using AK-47 on them should not, absolutely not be the government, and should not be anybody carrying weapons like that. Because again, these same protests have been happening in other states and they were peaceful. So why should Lagos be different? That is not the whole thing. Again, I just think that with the only thing that united us, and obviously was not going to last for a very long time, the only thing that united us as Nigerians was the fact that we wanted independence. And maybe that is not a bad thing. Maybe it just is that was what we needed to do to come together and get our independence and then dip. Like, honestly, I'm not saying that, okay, fine. Because the way things are going, if we were to separate, there's definitely going to be like some sort of underlying subconscious or very much overt beef within, the new nations, and how we decided not to stay together and how powerful we could have been. But then it's like, it wasn't benefiting the majority anyway, so why should they have stayed together? That is the real problem. And the thing is, we're just also diverse that I think we don't really fully walk in our culture. Like, our culture is, how will I say this? Our culture is very much like diluted in a way because we have to sort of share with other tribes. It may sound very selfish, but just understand that where I'm coming from is that if you go from slavery, colonialism, and all that, it's been what, more than 400 years. So we've never really had like a distinct, like, okay, fine, we know that, okay, fine, this is this country and the main culture is this, and this is what they represent. Of course, there are going to be variations here and there, but this is the main thing, and the people have the same mentality, and they have a unifying, factor and all that. But then again, it's like people argue, then we all have problems. Again, when it comes to disunity and all that and different mentality, people can just decide that, you know what, they just don't even want anything to work. So, the argument of, our culture being something we need to go back to as an excuse to have self-determination, to some may not necessarily, sit right with them, which is absolutely fine. But I just think that right now, if anything, we're just gonna have to find solutions. Except we like the way the country is, and we're gonna leave it the way it is. Again, it's our choice to determine how we're gonna tackle issues like this. And it just all depends on us, to be honest. And I just don't think what they can. They are actually putting in effort to do what they can, but again, it's like these people doing the African spirituality should not be something that is, how do I describe it? Should not be something that is looked down upon or seen as strange because it is indigenous to the land. You know what I mean? Like, believe whatever you want to believe, fine. But if that's what they choose to do, and that's what they choose to do. So again, going back to this man, again, what if the Yoruba Nation agitators are not all Muslim? Then do you think the advice would still stick with them? Because you haven't even offered a solution. Because again, okay, fine. If you don't want your followers to, use charms, so what will you use them? What are you telling them to do? What is the way forward? Like, what are you telling them to do? Like, what is the alternative for them? Because you haven't given that. You just told them that, in Islam it is wrong to use charms because it is seen as idolatry. Okay, fine, fair enough. But then what are you giving to them as an alternative? And I think this is where the problem lies when religion and religious leaders are added to the mix. Not that they should not talk on political issues. It's just that they don't go with the full depth of understanding the realities of a situation. Like, you can tell them to use the tools the religion has given them to fight whatever they need to fight, but then it's like this just stops them. If you get what I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I just think that, again, he hasn't fully finished the cycle of advising you can't just tell them don't do this because of this. Okay, fine, fair enough. But what alternative are you giving to them? Because are you trying to say that they should not go and fight? Or, what are you trying to say? Because I think that the problem is they've made the protesters seem like the aggressors. And no matter what protesters do, it's just, in a way, they're just going to be seen as the ones trying to create havoc. Put what you think about this in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.